Hi, let's have a look at some stuff. This is a camera stand that apparently I bought. Well, I do vaguely remember the occasion. We were in Walmart right after I started posting on the channel. So this might be the first time I've ever used it. Or maybe the second. Whoops. So there's that. Here's a hiking pole. It was sprouting off the side of a larger ash tree. I think maybe it was just recently dead, or it was very clearly on its way out. It's got a bit of weeble wobble, but it's kind of fairly straight. Just short of shoulder height at the moment. And I like to take it out when I'm working. Do a little bit of whittling. It's early days. But we're putting in the miles. And then, I wanted to say, so this camera stand, the part that holds the camera here was screwed into this, and this thing I don't like. I don't think I like the light that this will make compared to an incandescent light bulb. So the problem was that this part here, well, I'll explain. I'll take the camera back off, try not to press any buttons. Yeah, I just had to make an attachment there, which was, we had this syringe lying around. It's just kind of the first thing that I picked up. So I cut a piece out of that. The little gradations on it helped to cut it to the right length. And, although, well, I cut it long, because I didn't thread it in there all the way. It wasn't really going. Yeah, I had to heat it up with a lighter and kind of melt it / thread it on. That was fun. So, let's get to the order of the day now, which is this. Oh, well, I did just see a slingshot there. Keep flipping the phone around. Hopefully that doesn't mess the recording up. Okay, sorry about that. Thanks for bearing with me. Here, I was just whittling this with the Richter Challenge knife. The random leak. Lovely little bit of whittling. This is a beech, tiny little beech fork I had there. I actually just found this down by the anvil, because we have a barbecue out in the woods that I was intending to kind of turn into a forge. It's an old piece of infrastructure there, stone barbecue. Thought I could do some forging there. So I took an anvil out there with the tractor, rusty old anvil. But that's really the kind of my best anvil option. It's down there. And I wanted to use the anvil. And when I finished using it, I noticed that I'd cut this fork and left it on the ground. So it's kind of nice and seasoned. Tiny little slingshot. 2-finger plinker. Blink. So I'm switching over to this knife now. Another thing I have been whittling with that is this. But of course, to explain what this is, we need this. And this is why I went down to the anvil, because this thing was not very straight. Now you see that taper tang, right? We can sight down that very nicely. And before the blade was kicking off to the right, dramatically from this angle. And here you can kind of see, as I ground off the edge, right? And so see that line tells you what your apex is doing. And you can see that it's got Still got a lot of wobble in it, right? Wobbles off to the left there. There's where I hit it with the carbide hammer by mistake. Whoops. But that's not a big deal. That'll grind out. And it had a lot of dings like this in it that I already ground out. So that, for me, that's what I would call reprofiling, is if you're, grinding in this direction, so you're actually changing the profile. That's what I did. I took it in because I just took off all the crappy metal there. And also, I was grinding in this way. So then I would thicken it out and then grind in this way, taking off some steel, taking off a significant amount of that which would be removed anyway after hitting it with the carbide hammer. I figured, well, take it off before so that it's not pulling in the direction I don't want it to go, right? I'll just take that off and then start hitting it, and then I'll grind some more. So yeah, I must have hit it 1,000 times with the carbide hammer, mostly on this side. Trying to push this, well, some down here to kick it in. So some down here and in various spots up here quite a bit, I think, as well. Yeah, okay, up there. So it's kind of straightening out the spine, but then the complicated thing with the carbide hammer is if it's not just kinked in this direction, if it's kinked in multiple directions like this was, where you can see it's still got, it kind of swoops off to the left to a fair degree, but it was way worse before, right? And so now I figure, well, I'll just sharpen this and get it as close to straight, and with subsequent regrindings and resharpenings, we'll get it until it's pretty straight. And of course, now back here, it's also a little blah, 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 blah. So later I might hit it more with the carbide hammer as well. We'll see. But for now, kind of wanted to get the blade functional and just test it out. But this thing was going to bug me. It's not a big deal, I don't think, in as much as you can still get a very comfortable grip there. It doesn't even particularly make a hot spot. But you're lacking a little bit of stability there that this would offer you in the grip. And, well, when I was holding this, because it feels solid, but when I was holding it and whacking it with the carbide hammer, it did start to move a bit. So now we have some motion on that scale. And maybe I don't know, that still feels pretty solid this side. But yeah, no, it's okay. It is a little loose. It's all come a little loose. Which I guess, I can resolve that by drenching all the gaps in epoxy. But to clean up before doing that would be a pain. So my thinking was just to complete the scale, patch it up nicely, and then use it some, and then at a later stage, take the scales off and, refinish everything. In which case, it would be a bummer to then fill it up with epoxy and so forth, but I don't really want a wobbly handle either. So I'll sleep on it, and I'll consider whether I want to just drill these pins. Oh, this one, actually, I could just cut it with a Dremel, right? I could just cut that one, drill that out a bit, tap it out. Now this, I might have to cut, maybe not to get the scales out, but I don't know that I would be able to get them back in again tight. But this part could be sacrificed in favor of a nice piece of twine carta, right? I can redo this ferrule here with some twine epoxy. Yeah, anyway, that was kind of what I wanted to show. Was grinding wheel, just a what is it? Just maybe a 5-inch grinding wheel. I think maybe 4-inch. Harbor Freight grinding wheel. and just kind of went slowly. And then hit it a load of times with a hammer. Picked up a slingshot. Yada yada. Right. So I'm going to switch over to this knife now to do this. But you know what? Now maybe I've talked myself into just taking the scales off. Because if I take the scales off, then I can clean up the tang and I can glue them back on with epoxy and I can pin them back on with brass pins, and then I can figure out something cool up here, personalized. And yeah, get a wicked shot. Because now I don't want to go out and chop with this thing with a wobbly handle. You know, I got good choppers with handles that don't wobble. But what I would like to do is get this about as good as I can, functionality-wise, and then test it against the Jimmy Slash chopper and whatever's kicking around here, you know. But I think this thing's going to perform. Thick boy. Yeah, we'll leave the weathering on the spine there. Trying to get it to focus. Hello. Yeah, someone beat on this with a hammer or something. Maybe a wrench or something. Yeah, lighting's not great, but there we go. Okay, thanks for watching.